Spence vs. Porter, the official breakdown, next. Please like and subscribe. Help us hit 10,000 subscribers. Share on all forms of social media. Leave us a comment below. Welcome to another edition of Sunday Morning Champion. What a fight we got last night. We got our $75 worth. Well, I mean, not really. No fight's worth $75, but it was a great card. Great card, top to bottom. Every fight was pretty good. The main event, absolute war, great fight. Fight of the year candidate, although my vote would still go to Kovalev and Yard. But this is in the conversation. This is going to get votes at the end of the year for fight of the year. Great fight. No disappointment. Before we get into that, I want to give a shout out to my boy Azteca Mario Barrios. Texas showed up, proving it's a cut above. We're cutting a different cloth. Rallying late to score a 12th round knockdown in a fight that looked like it may be slipping away from him. Barrios picked it up, scored the knockdown, secured the victory. What an excellent performance. Just a great way, a true champion, showing his grit and closing the show like a champion, getting that knockdown in the 12th round to secure his victory. We scored at 116-110 for Barrios. We had a little wider, but reasonable minds could have that fight a bit closer. So congrats to the new WBA 140-pound regular champion, Azteca Mario Barrios. Big up to him, Team Barrios, and Alamo City. Let's move up north of the division to the welterweight division in the mega unification fight between Errol the Truth Spence and Showtime Shawn Porter. First things first. What a fight. What an awesome scrap. Like I said, it's a contender for fight of the year. Just to get it out of the way. Live, initially we scored at 114-113 for Showtime Shawn Porter. We've gone back, but let's go with that card. It was that kind of fight. We have no problem with it going to Spence. We rewatched it again this morning, and then we scored at 114-113 Spence. But my initial live scorecard, which is the one I always hand in, that's the one I always discuss, that's the one I always make public, 114-113 Shawn Porter. Again, no problem with the fight going either way. It was that kind of fight. Honestly, the most popular scorecard I've been seeing, and I've seen a wide array of scorecards, anywhere from 116-111 for Spence, all the way up to 115-112 for Porter, 116-111 I think I've seen for Porter. So I've seen a wide array of scorecards. The most common one I keep seeing is 114-113 Spence, which means that's probably right. Spence probably just nicked this thing out and needed that knockdown in the 11th round to secure this thing. Spence dug down deep to pull out the last two rounds, including that vicious left-hand knockdown that dropped Porter in dramatic fashion, and Porter bounced right back up. That was a great. It was a beautiful left hand, and you go back and watch that in slow mo. That is a vicious left hand, and what a chin for Shawnee P to get back up from that undamaged, undented, and just to move forward and then bring the fight to Spence. Really courageous performance by both fighters. I would like to see the fight again. We're not going to get that, so we'll break down some options for the two men after that. But let's digress on that. Again, no problem with the fight going to Spence. After reviewing it and watching the second time I scored it for Spence, so no problem there. What I do have a problem with is a scorecard, and the problem is it's not one scorecard, it was two. 116-111. That's only 4 rounds for Porter. 2 judges scored 4 rounds for Porter. There's no way he only won 4 rounds. There's not. He won at least 5. He may have won 6 or 7. So I mean, it's just tough to and then 2 of the judges scored it that way. 2 of the 3 judges totally discredited Shawn Porter, which means they just didn't like his style, which means he had no chance of winning the fight before the fight started, because he wasn't going to knock Spence out. He's not that kind of puncher, right? He's not going to knock out Spence. So he's not a body puncher, so he's not going to break him down to the body, and he's not going to land a big shot to his shin and stop him. So he was going to have to win the fight. If Porter was going to win the fight, he was going to have to win the fight on decision. He was going to have to win it pretty much the way that he did, except not get knocked down. So he basically had no chance to win the fight on the cards. If it was going to go to the cards, look, Spence was the only one that was going to be able to win the fight by knockout. And as it turned out, Spence was the only one who had a chance to win the fight via the scorecards, as that's the way the judges had it. Porter's style might might just not be that appealing to the judges, right? His rough neck, come forward, bull in a China shop type style just might not be appealing to the judges. So he might just not get these type of decisions. Look, his style is not conventional. It's not pretty, really. You know, it's like Scotch, right? It takes him getting used to. But we've seen enough Shawn Porter, right? He landed plenty of good shots. I mean, there are plenty of rounds that you could have scored for Porter, and the judges just didn't because they don't appreciate his style, and that could be difficult for Porter in the future. And it's been, you know, he lost a close decision to Keith Thurman, which a lot of people already won. He lost a close decision to Brook. So it might just be judges that don't like his style, but then on the other hand, he also got a close decision, which we thought he lost to Ugas. So we don't know. And that brings me to my other point too. There may not be a big gap between Crawford and Spence and everybody else. You know, we were under the impression, as most of everyone else was, that, you know, Spence and Crawford was 1 and 1A, and everyone else was far below that. That might not be true. Pacquiao, Thurman, Porter, Garcia, Ugas may all right be on that level. They might be all right there. There might not be that much difference between, you know, between the two fighters, right? Between those two gaps, right? There might not be too much of a gap there. You know, they all might kind of be on the same level where if they fought, you may get a different outcome, a different verdict depending on what day it was and who the judges were, right? And you could have reasonably scored that fight for Porter. And Thurman beat Porter. And Ugas beat Porter, arguably. So how would they do against... Because Porter didn't do any better or worse against Ugas or Thurman than they did against Spence. He was kind of all relevant. It's kind of all relative. Like, there's not... Porter did what he did, and he had equally as much success against Spence as he did with Ugas or with Thurman. So there might not be that much of a difference between those guys. I think Danny Garcia is probably the weak link there, and we'll get into that, because he's getting the fight next with Errol Spence, which is a shame, because before the fight, Errol Spence said that he wanted to fight either of the two other champions, being Terrence Bud Crawford or Manny Pacquiao, and we found out that that's not true. It's not true. And Errol Spence is my boy. I beg him all the time. I know him, met him many times. He doesn't want to fight Terrence Crawford. Okay, if he did, the fight would get made. And the fight could get made. But he doesn't really want the fight. I'm not saying he's running from the fight, but he's also definitely not running to the fight. Right? This is not a fight that he definitely wants to get made. And again, I don't think this performance against Shawn Porter drops his stock or anything like that. He eked out a tight decision against a really good fighter. Just like I don't think Canelo's close decision against Danny Jacobs drops his stock. He eked out. He did enough to get the decision over a really good fighter. Again, I don't have a problem with the scorecards. I don't have a problem with Spence getting the decision. But when he came out and said, I want to fight either Crawford or Pacquiao next, he didn't mean it, because the fight with Danny Garcia has already been finalized, quasi-finalized, right? They already said that this is his next opponent. And Danny Garcia has done nothing to earn that fight. Like I said, of those top 7 names, Crawford, Spence, Pacquiao, Thurman, Ugas, Porter, Garcia, he's the weak link. I think Virgil Ortiz beats him. Yeah, he's a good fighter. He's an excellent fighter. But he's lost to Thurman, clearly, and he lost to Porter, clearly. So I don't see why he gets to walk into this fight coming off beating Granados. The only 2 wins he has over the last few years are Granados and Bam Bam Rios. Who cares? Like, those are throwaway wins. I mean, Granados was a great performance because he dominated. And he got a great knockout over Rios. So he was losing rounds to Bam Bam Rios before he got that sensational knockout. It's a great knockout, right hand, beautiful knockout of the year type knockout. But he didn't look good in the fight. And then he lost to Porter, and then he beat Granados, then he gets Spence. It doesn't make a whole lot of sense. You know, if he wants to get a fight with Spence, go beat Ugas. Or go rematch with Porter and Thurman and beat one of them. So now we're gonna get Garcia versus Spence in early 2020. Then we're going to get Pacquiao versus Mikey Garcia. And Crawford versus a cab driver. We're going to get Crawford versus Uber driver. And that's a shame. And they got to do something to get Crawford more fights. Because we're going to look back at Crawford's name 20 years from now and say, Ejivis Kavazlakis? Who is this guy fighting? And look, it can get made. ESPN and Fox work together all the time. They work together today. They work together yesterday. They will work together again next week. Say, doing football, right? Every Saturday, ESPN shows highlights of Fox games. And Fox shows highlights of ESPN games. So this is not something new, right? They do this. They work together literally every single week. They do it for the playoffs, right? The NFL playoffs. They do it for college football. They do it for the Major League Baseball playoffs. They work together all the time. So those two organizations, Fox and CBS, Fox and ESPN, they work together all the time. They can figure this out. They can do this. They just choose not to. And look, if Spence really wanted the fight, if Spence said, give me Terrence Crawford, they'd have to make the fight. But he doesn't really want the fight. And that's obvious. He had no intention of taking the fight because he had already negotiated and ironed out details to fight Danny Garcia next. A fight which not that intriguing. You know, it's not that great of a fight. Especially considering Garcia's done nothing to warrant himself another title shot. And let me know what you guys think. Who should Crawford fight next? Are you guys okay with this Garcia fight? Are you against the Garcia fight? Let me know what you think about our analysis of the fight. And also let me leave your thoughts below on what you guys think of Mario Barrios too. Were you impressed with the way he rallied to save the victory, or do you think that you saw a lot of weaknesses, a lot of flaws that will be exposed? Let me know what you guys think. Leave your thoughts, comments below. I really want to see what you guys think of this Garcia versus Spence fight. And would you rather see a Porter-Spence rematch or Garcia versus Spence? I'd rather see the rematch. I thought the fight was so good and so close. I'd love to see it again. Whenever you have a fight at 6 rounds to 6 with a knockdown being the difference, let's see that again. I'm into that fight. I want to see it again. The Garcia fight doesn't do anything for me. I don't think Garcia deserves it. But let me know what you think. Leave your thoughts, comments below. For another episode of Sunday Morning Champion, from Texas to the world, this is 3D Boxing saying thank you and God bless.
Enjoy 3D Boxing vlog videos? Show us some love by clicking the like button. Don't miss a tweet, post, story, or video. 3dboxingvlog.com is also on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Hit the subscribe button now to stay inside the ring.